What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Handmade and Beyond podcast. I'm your host, LL, leader of the handmadeandbeyond.com website and community. I'm a self-employed entrepreneur, an Etsy expert, and business coach who's figured out how to make my entire living with my handmade business. Each week, I'll dive into strategies and success tips to help you with your handmade business, with Etsy, and everything in between. Let's dive in. What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Handmade and Beyond podcast. Glad to be back with you guys. Today's episode is a special treat for you and myself because I have Dan Parker on the podcast today. And Dan is an Etsy seller who hand machines executive pens from scratch. He makes all of the pens in his workshop. They're handcrafted, hand machined, and designed by him. He is a race car driver, and most amazing of all, he's 100% blind. Dan was actually in a pretty severe racing accident in 2012, which left him with a lot of injuries, but the most significant was being 100% blind. And he has pivoted from that traumatic event to start his own business, to hand machine pens, to fabricate everything himself and set up all the machinery so he can do it 100% blind. Not only that, he still races. He's currently going after the record in his 2008 Corvette for the land speed record, which is currently at 200.5 miles an hour, set by Mike Newman from England. So he's been working on his Corvette, using his sales from his Etsy pen business to drive that mission to become the world's fastest blind man and beat that record. He's probably going to race again coming this fall, but I'm anxious to see him do that and follow along on his journey. But I'm talking to him today about his journey so far, about his business and about his racing. He's met some pretty cool people along the way, Jay Leno as well, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that. But I just found this super inspiring to be able to talk with him and just see how positive of a person that he is and how he used such a terrible event to create and inspire others, to create positivity, and just not let him get him down. And he has a mission to not only grow his business, but become the world's fastest man and still do what he loves, still do what he's passionate about, and not let his blindness define him and define his life. And I just love his story, and he's just such an inspiration. I hope that you guys find it inspirational as well. Without further ado, let's dive into Dan's interview. All right, Dan, what is going on? Welcome to the podcast, man. How you doing?
I'm doing great, LL. How you doing this morning?
Good. Hanging in there. It's a race as always. I'm trying to get my Etsy orders already this morning. I've been working on getting my stuff done, going back and forth. And I was like, oh crap, I got a podcast coming up. I need to make sure that I'm ready for that. And that hopefully technology is going to work for me. You know how it is. So it's a constant race sometimes, but,
I understand.
Yeah, but I'm super pumped to have you on the podcast. I've been wanting to have you on for a long time, just because, your story is amazing, and it's super inspiring. I remember the first time that I heard it, and I was talking back and forth in email with you, and it was very inspiring. And I wanted other people to kind of, hear, your background, your story. You're an Etsy seller. You sell pretty amazing hand machine, handmade pens, which is awesome in itself. And you're a race car driver, but even more amazing is the fact that you're, 100% blind, and you've done all of these things and accomplished so much. So I think that is just really kind of unbelievable.
Oh, I appreciate it. I have rough days like everybody else, but I've tried to turn my racing page is tragedy to triumph racing, and I've worked hard the last 9 years to turn my tragedy into a triumph, to turn it around and make something of it.
Yeah, I mean, that's because I think when adversity really kind of teaches you a lot. I think internally about yourself, and you can either use it as a positive, or you can just, continue to focus on the negative. And that's, everyone has, their own adversity. And that's, I like the quote. I don't remember exactly what it is, but everyone's dealing with a problem that you know nothing about. So which is even more of a reason to be kind to people. But it's just like, you don't know people's struggles. They're not always worn on their sleeve. But I think it just tells you a lot about, the type of person, as far as how you want to handle that and use as a positive, and you're using it as a positive. You're still, you still have the mission of inspiring others, but also, starting, running and growing a business. And not only that, I mean, you're still racing, which is, I think, really unbelievable too. That I just, it's pretty cool. You're still living, your dream and not letting that stop you.
You know, two main parts of my life since I was a childhood has been metal fabrication, which includes machining and racing. So that's all I knew my whole life. So I went blind in 2012 from a drag racing accident, and I didn't know what my future held. One of the first things I was slapped in the face with was the staggering statistic that there 70% of the blind are unemployed in America and 99% worldwide. And so here I was, I own my own small business. I built race cars for a living. I lost everything. So, I had a choice. I could, let blindness define me, or I could try to define blindness. So I designed and built a motorcycle, set a record at the Bonneville Salt Flats early on. And then in 2014, I enrolled at the Louisiana Center for the Blind as an adult training center, and they teach you wood shop for 2 hours a day. Not necessarily as an employment skill, but as a confidence builder. If you can run a table saw where you just your hand, an inch away from that blade, totally blind, and it helps build confidence. So I met another blind woodworker in Utah, Ray Wright, and he taught me how to make wood pins over the phone. I bought pin turn equipment and everything. And but then I decided to build a Corvette to become the world's fastest blind man. So I had to sell all my wood shop equipment. And so that's what I've really been focused on for the last 4 years with the Corvette. And then I actually adapted making the wood pins out of aluminum. So that's what I do that every day, whether I'm, working on my land speed Corvette, a truck, the trailer, or making my aluminum pins on my own machine in my lathe.
Yeah, it's amazing that you're using that that heavy equipment, and you have because you have it all like set up where it's, you have your own setup where you can use it and not need to obviously see what you're doing. And it's and you make, I mean, these pens are really really well done, really well crafted pens. So it's just kind of really neat to see that process.
Yeah, early on, I started, learning adaptive techniques on how to machine safely, and then I developed some, and I've, uh, adapted to being a machinist again, blind. So I have a talk box that looks at my calipers or my indicator, and it'll verbally speak the measurement to me, so I can machine a part within a half a thousandth. So that's 1/6 the thickness of a sheet of notebook paper. Um, Patrick, the engineer for the guidance system for the Corvette, he took my digital readout from my mill machine and made it speak to me. So I have other adaptive ways. I figured how to run my lathe, so it's not easy, but I just keep chipping at it every day, and I get better every day, and I gain more confidence every day.
Yeah. Well, I mean, being a machinist is, growing up, my friend's father was a machinist, and I know it's definitely a lot of skill to be a machinist in general, let alone being able to do it blind. So I think that's even more amazing to be able to fine tune those machines and run them, and get such precise, to make something so precise and so small as a pen. And so it's really neat. But so what are the you have 3 pens, right? What are the 3 different ones that you offer right now?
So I offer a slim line, which is a 3/8 outside diameter. It's a twist pen, and those I put a little knurl right there at your fingertip area, and that's a grip. So that makes it a little rough. So it's a grip area. And then I have what my medium pin, which is my executive. So it's a larger diameter pin. It's another twist pin. And then I go on my mill machine and I put 6 rows of ball nose dimples, and that creates a grip surface. And then I also have what's called my Made in America pin. So when COVID hit, you know, I was all about, we got to, make things in America. So it took me probably 6 months of working hard out in the shop, and I designed a pin. It has 7 hand machined parts. The only thing I don't make is the spring for the ink cartridge, and a tiny little Allen bolt. So I designed it has a bolt action mechanism that makes the ink cartridge eject, and they come on a base that's 7.25 by 3 inch long, has 2 little vertical stands, and they're notched, and the pin rests perfectly in those 2 notches. And the base is Cerakoted, and it has this pin was designed and hand machined by Dan Parker, the blind machinist. And my quote, "You can make excuses or make it happen." And then my slimline pin and my executive pins, they come with a wooden box that's also laser engraved with my quote, "You can make excuses or make it happen." And so I get all my pins Cerakoted. I do have polished available on the slimlines, and we sold 2 last week. But most of my pins are Cerakoted for really durable finish. That's also have several color options, and people, they really like the detail between the Cerakoting, the machine work, and then the pin kits that I use to assemble and put them together.
Yeah, I mean the different colors are pretty amazing. I know the Made in America pen with the stand is awesome. So good for definitely to put on your desk and make like sure for like a teacher, like a graduation gift, or just to have in general to have a
Yeah,
really nice pen to use. So um, super popular. I didn't really realize there's a lot of people that go around, they collect different executive pens, and there's a whole
mhm.
audience of people that do that. So it's really neat to kind of see your pens being used in those different scenarios, and there's a lot of different things that you can use them for, and it's just pretty neat for entrepreneurs or business owners to have a pen like that, especially like one with yours, which just had such a a cool story behind it. I think that's it's just a really neat thing to be able to see the pen that's made from someone that has that's not only a race car driver that's 100% blind, that's overcome so many different things, and all the adversity and things like that. So it's just a cool thing to see. um
Thank you.
but yeah, so your Corvette, I mean, this thing is pretty neat. How so I gotta touch on that for a moment, because it's I think I have a picture too that I could pop up on the screen to show everyone, because you took your Corvette and was on Jay Leno's garage, right?
Yes. So the fall of 2019, I was approached by the producer of Jay Leno's Garage about coming on the show, and the car wasn't finished, but having their commitment allowed me to go attract some commercial sponsors that allowed me to finish the car in time. So February 2020, we went to the spaceport in New Mexico for the East Coast Timing Association event. So it's a standing 1.5 miles, so zero, stick your car wide open for 1.5 miles, see how fast you go. And when we got there, the car had never been a quarter mile under its own power, but we overcame some obstacles and tested all night. And the pass, the film for the show, I went 153.8 miles an hour. And that was actually the first full pass on the car. I didn't veer a total of 5 feet from one end to the other with a 22-mile-an-hour crosswind. And so we were tickled. And then we finished filming the rest of the show. And by that time, the winds had picked up to over 30 miles an hour in the desert. So we called it a day, but we came home happy. It was really an honor to be on Jay Leno's Garage.
Yeah, I popped up a picture so everyone could see of the Corvette and you with Jay Leno. So it's pretty neat. I'll include a clip too. I'll include obviously the clip to this Jay Leno's Garage in the show notes where everyone's watching or listening to this, as well as your shop, your Etsy shop, and all that good stuff. But yeah, so it's pretty cool I know the clip was really good. I watched it before, and just to meet Jay Leno is pretty awesome. Was he a pretty cool guy?
He was. We had a fun time cutting up with each other, and we had a good time. He was real humble. Everybody, with the show was really great to work with. It was a bunch of hustling. When they come rolling into the spaceport, my crew chief Jimmy says, "Dan, you can't imagine how much equipment they got here," and they were in and out, but we got it done, and it was an honor. It was really cool. Chance of a lifetime to meet him, not only to meet him, but also to be on his show was really good. So we're currently, I built the Corvette to become the world's fastest blind man. Mike Newman in England has the record at 200.5. So that's our goal, is to break the record, bring it home to America. And also I'm going to do it totally independent with no human assistance. I have a custom guidance system built by a friend of mine at Boeing Phantom Works that gives me audible feedback so I know how to correct my steering. So when I went that 153, that was with no human assistance. And so we're working on, hopefully this fall, we're going to attempt the record, the Guinness Book of World Records.
Yeah, that's amazing. So Mike, he had assistants, or did he do it unassisted?
Yeah, no, he had assistants. Still to date, my motorcycle, I raced at Bonneville in 2013 and 14. I was the first blind person in the world to race without human assistance. And I'm still to date the only blind person in the world to race without human assistance. So I'm the first to 50 miles an hour, 100 miles an hour, and 150 miles an hour with no human assistance. So we gotta get that last goal, that carrot hanging, that 200 miles an hour mark. We gotta get that broke this year, hopefully.
Yeah, no, that'd be awesome. You're thinking maybe the summertime, sometime around there, possibly next
Probably
year.
probably the fall.
Fall.
I'm thinking October, November is where we're going to try to attempt the record. A little bit cooler weather, better conditions, give us a little bit more time to practice and prepare this summer, and then we'll be ready.
Yeah, no, that'd be pretty amazing to see that. I can't imagine going that fast either way. I would need plenty of assistance if I was going 150 miles an hour.
To give you perspective, at 200 miles an hour, you're going a football field per second.
Jesus. Oh man, that's crazy. Mm-hmm. Definitely pretty amazing. I know I've been to some NASCAR races, and we just had, the sprint car race down here in St. Pete, and that was, just getting relatively close, and those cars go by you and you can barely see them. It's so amazing. It's just to see that stuff, I think, in person gives like a whole new perspective, a whole new appreciation. Because I still remember the first time that, I watched, grew up watching, NASCAR, and you were always watching on TV. And then the very first race I went to was Daytona, and it was just a whole nother element to it. Just seeing the cars go that fast and just hearing them, just really,
the rumble
really,
when they come by. Yeah, it's and then the wind that they generate when they come by. It's a totally different perspective to be in person versus on TV. Yes.
Yeah. And you're, NASCAR, you can't get close, and you're 20, 30 rows up, and you feel the wind gusts, and you're getting hit with rubber. He's like, what the heck?
I remember everything's come off the tires.
Yeah, and I had a friend growing up. He used to race late models. He would race them on dirt, and you would go to the race. I think it was Friday nights. I think some races were Friday night, some were Saturday, depending on the area. But I remember you would go home and you would just be covered in dirt from the race. You would go home, you're like, oh my God, I was walking around like this. I was completely dirty.
Up here, our local track's right across the river in Alabama, and it's all red clay. So when you go to one of those races, when you come home and you take a shower, the shower is just red, from all the clay washing off of you.
Yeah, and your car's completely covered in soot and dirt, and it's just so it's all part of the experience. you gotta go and get the full experience, get dirty, smell the fumes in the air. So it's pretty neat for sure. So I mean, I just think that is a really cool story. The fact that you're still racing, still living out your dream is really neat. You're not giving up on that, and I definitely look forward to seeing you accomplish your goal. I think there's no reason why you can't do it. You have a mission. I wouldn't bet against you, that's for sure. So as far as so a lot of people can go, you have the blindmachinist.com with a lot of these pictures and clips and stuff, which is pretty cool. Your pens are on there as well as on your Etsy shop. But why did you decide to kind of move over to kind of bring it back to Etsy? Why did you decide to, well, let's back up. How did you even find Etsy? Because it's funny, like Etsy is so ingrained in me because I've been selling on it for so long. And obviously I work with a lot of people, a lot of sellers on Etsy. But back in the day, I remember I randomly found it looking for a piece of jewelry for my girlfriend. And I was like, what is this Etsy thing? And even now it's not as mainstream. There's still a lot of people that don't know about it. So how did you first like find Etsy?
I have a friend of mine, and his daughter does string art, and he told me how well she did on Etsy. And he's more technology challenged than I am. He's like, it's some kind of thing on the internet called Etsy. That's all he knew. And so I did a little research and found it, and I realized it's for handcrafted items, which is a perfect fit for me. And so I knew that'd be a venue, a place to try to sell my pens and try to turn this into something and for it to grow. You know, I I really don't have a choice. I've had a few jobs since I went blind, but I also suffer from a traumatic brain injury. So I have good days and bad days. And when I'm having a bad days, one of my headaches, I just have to turn off my phone. And so most employers are not going to accept that. So I've had to face the fact that, my future, I was going to have to generate it myself, create it myself. And, you know, my talents I had before I went blind with my two hands and my equipment and my little backyard shop. That's all, that was what I was dealt. And so that's what I had to work with. So I had to come up with something that I could make and possibly try to sell and, generate some income.
Yeah. I mean, that's, and that's what a lot of people have, skills and talents, and regardless of what you have to overcome, I mean, you can make it happen. You just have to choose to decide to go for it. And, you're doing that with a lot more, a lot more things that you have to overcome than many people. And that's why I just encourage people that if if you have a goal, you have a skill, you want to work for yourself, or you want to start your side hustle, you want to start your own business, I mean, you can do that, but it's not magic. You know what I mean? You can't just decide to open up a store and then do nothing else. You have to continue to work at it, continue to grow it, continue to build it. And Etsy is a great avenue to do that. And it's helped so many people, make extra money, maybe at some point go full time. But I don't like to lead with that because I know it's not easy. I never
Yeah.
thought that I would be able to do it full time when I first started, because I didn't know what the heck I was doing. I was making no sales hardly. I was kind of floundering around like a lost boy in the forest until and another reason too, I wasn't as serious,
Mhm.
and you just really have to buckle down. You have to stop treating it like a hobby and start treating it like a business. And I think that's kind of a mindset shift that a lot of people just aren't willing to make, and not willing. I don't think they realize, for whatever reason with online, I just think that there's a kind of, people think that it's going to be quote unquote easier than like a brick and mortar, but it's not any easier. It's just a different kind of hard. If you open up a brick and mortar, you still have to, manage employees or work every day, and build your product line, do all that stuff. Whereas, a couple of clicks, you can open up an Etsy shop, but that really doesn't change anything. You still have to work at your, making your products. You have to show up as far as working on your shop, working on your, promoting your stuff, your social media, all those layers of the onion that takes to build a business. So it's really no different whether you're doing a brick and mortar, you're selling on Etsy, you're selling on Amazon, wherever you're selling at. I think you just have to look at it that way. So, and Etsy, I mean, is a great way to be able to do that, especially for handmade stuff. And I think it's still I think it's the third biggest platform out there now to sell, behind Amazon and eBay. So, and it's a much different
Mhm.
audience as well. So, in my experience, buyers are a lot more friendly on eBay or on Etsy.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, and the thing I love about it is just seeing so many different talented people be able to showcase what they make, their skills, because you can search on Etsy all day long and find just different stuff, just completely different stuff that you didn't even know existed, that people are that make. And like, I didn't, I had no idea that there was hand machine pens until
Mhm.
me and you met and talked. I had no idea that people did that. And I'm still finding, people come in to the community, and I find stuff all the time that where they're doing these really amazing things, really skilled things that I just never even knew that existed. So I think that's really cool.
Yeah, it is. It's, you know, one thing, like you said, if you're going to start it, you got to be committed and you have to treat it like a business and as a professional. Me, I'm always trying to improve my product to make a quality product. And I want a pen when somebody looks at it, they're
It,
totally blown away, the detail and the craftsmanship before they find out that I'm blind. And then when they find out I'm blind, that just brings it to another level. I don't want something that's somebody says, that's good for a blind guy. I want something somebody says, well, that's a quality pen. And by the way, a blind guy made it.
yeah, no, I think that's a good way to look at it, because I mean, you want to wow them first, with the product, and
Yeah.
then the story is going to be like a double whammy. Wow. It's like, holy smokes. I mean,
Yeah.
this is amazing. So, and you're definitely talented. I, can't imagine doing the machine work in itself, let alone doing it, blind. So that's amazing in itself. I know down here, we get a hurricane or something like that, the lights go out. I'm falling I'm falling all over the place. I'm like, I don't know my house as well as I thought I knew my house. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, that's where it comes in handy for the blind guy. When the power goes out, this is no problem. Let's go.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, it's definitely an amazing thing. Uh, so I guess like so your long-term goals, what we gotta set that record for over 200.5. We got to bring it home for, got to beat old Mike Newman over there. And you actually met him, right?
Yeah, yeah, we're friends. He called me the day I went to Arkansas a few weeks ago, trying to test the car. Had a rough weekend, and Mike called and checked on me. And he called me a couple days later. He says, "Man, I can tell by your voice, you were, defeated." And offer words of encouragement. He knows I'm going for his record. But land speed racing is a little bit different than most forms of racing, drag racing, NASCAR. They, I hear so many of the elder land speed racers says, I'm borrowing this record. I'm just a record. I'm just holding this record till the next person takes it. Then that gives them a reason to go back out and chase it again. Everybody basically accepts the fact that record, you holding a record are temporary. And Mike is a great, humble person. And we talk and we become good friends. We both have a lot of mutual respect for each other.
Yeah, that's awesome to have that community. And I mean, that makes sense. I mean, records are made to be broken. That's your drive, though. Whether you're competing with someone else or competing with yourself, I mean, you can compare that to business, or you can compare it to your hobbies or racing, whatever the case may be. Because I tell people all the time, competition is good. Like, a lot of people get upset or get bent out of shape. They go and they look at competition. These people are just, killing it. They look at other jewelry makers and they're making, thousands of dollars in sales like a month or a week. And I'm like, that's good. That means that you can do it too. There's no
Yeah.
reason why you can't. Yeah, you're seeing the success, you're seeing the tip of the iceberg, but you're not seeing the 5 years that they had to grind and work behind the scenes. You're not seeing all the promotions. You're not seeing all that stuff that's below the iceberg. So I love when I see people that are absolutely killing it, because that means that I can get there too. It's just going to take time. And it's just like, if someone else did it, they set a record or whatever, that's just motivation that you can do it too. I heard I heard the other day there was with people used to run the mile, and forever, no, like, I forget the record was like 4 minutes or something it was like 4 minutes and some odd seconds for like a long time. And no one could get under a 4 minute mile, which to me is insane anyways. But and then someone eventually broke the 4 minute mile. And then in the next year, there was like 10 more people that did it. So it's like once people know that it's possible, then it just kind of opens the doors to change your mindset and see that it's possible. And that's where, records or, competition, it's like, that stuff is possible. You just have to go out and go after it, set the goals, take the actions, be committed, be consistent. And, you can make it happen too. It's just a lot of people, I think just aren't consistent enough with working at achieving their goals to be able to get there. So, which is kind of
and you have to take the competition as a way to push yourself, to raise the bar for yourself, no matter if you're, making, like my pins on Etsy, or if I'm, racing my Corvette or my motorcycle, you got to take that as a fuel to fire yourself, to pump yourself up, to say, all right, because there's a guy that, several months ago, I met in one of the pin turners group. He sold over 10,000 pins on Etsy in the last 2 years, I think it is. I'm like, man, that pushed me. That gave me, some fire. So, all right, if he can do it, I can do it. So I've worked on my machining practices and how I do things to know that I could produce, a lot as I continue to grow the shop. I can keep up with it, and that's what you got to do. You got to use that as fuel to pump yourself up and to, get going. Don't use it as a distraction or to deter you. Say, well, they got all the business. No, that means like you said, there's business out there for everybody. And you just got to raise the bar for your product, set yourself apart from everybody else.
Yeah. I mean, you just have to have an abundance mindset. You really do. It's just, you don't need all the pie. You just need a piece of the pie, and you just have to work at going after and getting it. And yeah, chances are you're not going to invent something that hasn't been done before, but that doesn't mean that you can't add your special sauce. That doesn't mean that you can't add your own value bombs to it. There's a lot of things that you can do to set yourself apart from the competition, whether it be with different elements that you add into your products, different accessories, you're obviously for your story, the quality of, pens that you're making, different color combinations, and just how they're packaged. There's a lot of different things that people can do to build value in what they're selling, to be able to compete and exceed the competition. But yeah, you really have to have an abundance mindset. I remember, when I first started my clothing company, people looked at me like I was crazy. You look on Etsy and there's millions of shirts and designs on there. It's like, how in the world is this dude ever gonna make any money doing this with so much competition? And it doesn't matter. You just go out there and do your own thing. You add your special sauce to it and you keep pushing. And you learn a lot along the way. And I think that's part of it too, is you have to fail. If you're not failing consistently, that means you're not trying hard enough consistently, is the kind of the way that I look at it. Because if you've never failed, you've never learned anything in your journey. You know what I mean? So, and you've failed plenty of times trying to refine your craft, refine your machinery, even with racing and refining your car and fixing things along the way. You don't know what to fix until you fail first. Otherwise, you're just floundering around.
When I made up my mind I was going to make the Made America pin, it took me 6 months to get a product that I was happy with at the end. I probably filled up a 5-gallon bucket full of scrap aluminum, but I was determined I wasn't going to quit, and quality was not going to be number 2; it was going to be number 1. And so, I just kept pushing and kept pushing myself, and knowing I was going to make a quality product. That's what you have to do. Just there, no matter what the competition, we all have a spot that is reserved for us. Basically, we can, make the most of it. And there's plenty of work or business out there for everybody. Just set yourself apart from everybody else, and hustling and working hard is the way to do it.
Yeah. I think it was either was it Thomas? It was either Thomas Edison or Benjamin Franklin. Don't look it up because I'll look like a fool. But they said I haven't failed 5,000 times. I just found 5,000 ways that didn't work, or something like that.
Yeah,
So I
yeah,
always
yeah,
like that quote.
yeah,
It's like, once
yeah.
every time you find a way that doesn't work, that means you're closer to something that will work, or something that
Yeah, I'm almost positive that that would be Thomas Edison when he was inventing the light bulb. You know, how many times he tried different things that didn't work till he hit the one thing that did work.
yeah.
It you just got to keep digging.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. But yeah, man, that's why I wanted to have you on the show, because I think your story is just inspiring, and all that you've accomplished. You've before and after you've been, you've unfortunately had to deal with blindness, but you're using it as a positive. You're inspiring others. On your Facebook pages. What are your two Facebook pages for everyone, so they can follow you on there?
Yeah. Uh, the racing page is Tragedy to Triumph Racing, and then the Blind Machinist.
Yeah.
Those are my two Facebook pages, and I post stuff up on there. Everything I do myself, my Bluetooth keyboard, my iPhone. iPhones are amazing, have a lot of accessibility built into them for free, just some settings that you turn on. So, I do everything real independent. And so that's my two pages, Tragedy to Triumph Racing and the Blind Machinist.
Awesome. Yeah, I know you consistently post on there, and it's uplifting stuff, but it's neat to kind of follow along and see your journey, see what you're doing. And then you got your theblindmachinist.com has good stuff on there, and then your Etsy shop is it's at etsy.com/shop/the blind machinist. So they got to throw in that weird shop sub link in there. So I always got to remember that, because early on you forget that. I've actually seen people do business cards with their shop, and they forget the /shop / so then it doesn't bring up anything. I've actually I used to, before COVID, there was a lot of craft fairs and stuff, because that's just the area that I live in. It's very artsy. So you go and you see real cool stuff, and you collect business cards, and I get home and check them out. I'm like, oh, you got your link on there wrong. And it's like, I want to tell them, but I can't because it's the wrong link. But yeah, so if anyone wants to check out Dan, your stuff, and go to the social media, I'll have the links below. Obviously, if they want to, hopefully they check out your pens, because they're really awesome, very well made. They make great gifts, or just something, for your own personal use. You can go and support Dan on his websites as well. So, but yeah, so thanks for coming on the podcast, Dan. It was really awesome to have you. I'm glad that we finally got together to do this, and I think your story and everything that you accomplished is amazing, and I really hope that it inspires others just like it has me.
I appreciate it. And, everybody, if y'all go to my store, please give it a like, a follow, and sign up for my email. Deals for I send out emails to everybody. I'm not going to blow you up, 10 times a day or nothing like that. We're not going to sell your stuff. And LL, I appreciate it. And I appreciate what you do for the Etsy community. I was at a craft show this past weekend. A lady made glass art, and I had no idea she could cut glass with these titanium snips or something. She was telling me. But anyway, I told her about your podcast. Told her to go listen to it, check it out, because she just got introduced to Etsy. And so I appreciate everything you do for the Etsy community and for all the shop owners, and helping us, give us the encouragement and the tools to grow our business together.
Awesome, man. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. I do my best, because I was in the same position. I didn't know what the heck I was doing. So I just think a lot of people need that extra push, maybe a little bit of extra motivation, obviously some best practices and things like that to grow. But just such a talented community and such an awesome group of people. That's why I really enjoy, helping them grow their businesses. So, but yeah, thanks a lot, Dan.
Have a great day.
All right, guys, that is all I got for today. Hopefully you got a lot out of that interview with Dan. Such an inspiring story, such an inspiring guy who's still living out his dreams and not being defined by his disability. It inspired me, and hopefully it inspires you guys to keep going no matter what you have to overcome, no matter what hurdles you have, because believe you me, we all have hurdles, some more extreme than others, but Being an entrepreneur, being a business owner is all about bouncing back, continuing to pivot, and just not giving up so you guys get to the place that you ultimately want to be. If you guys need more help, start building, growing an Etsy business. You guys want the support, you want the community, you want the strategies to be successful in your business. I'd love to help you inside the Handmade and Beyond community. It's a safe place that you can come, get any question answered, work with other Etsy sellers, work with myself, get your shop critiqued, work on SEO, anything that you guys need to grow your business is in there and is part of that community. And that's why I created it, for people just like yourself that need that extra motivation, that need that extra support, because starting and building and growing a business can be a very lonely journey. I know, I've been there, I've done it. I wanted to create a community of like-minded individuals all pushing, inspiring each other, motivating each other to reach their goals and be successful business owners. So you can get in there free for 30 days. Give it a test drive. I know you'll love it. I know you'll want to stay. There is a link below. I'd love to have you guys in there. I'm serious. This is no games. We are a serious community, and I'm all about doing whatever I can to help the members in there. So I'd love to see you guys in there. Until next week, we'll be back with you with another amazing episode. Have an awesome rest of your day, and happy selling.